Hey guys, what's going on? Adam Snyder here with Home Entrepreneur. So in this video, I just want to talk to you guys about entrepreneurship and what most people don't tell you about entrepreneurship and why you are not successful. I want to give you 5 tips on being a successful entrepreneur, not just today, but tomorrow, a month from now, a year from now, even 10 years from now. How you can successfully become an entrepreneur today if you make the right choices and the right decisions. So the first thing that I want you guys to understand about entrepreneurship is that it is hard. It is one of the hardest things you will probably ever do in your entire life. Not only it's hard to make the decision, to make the jump from being an employee to being the employer, to being an entrepreneur. Most people can't do that. Most people can't make that leap because they don't know what's going to happen if the checks don't come in. What's going to happen if they can't sell stuff? What happens when there's no money in their bank account? That's happened many times to myself. I know there's other entrepreneurs out there that there's been times where they couldn't make their payments for maybe it was a car or a house, whatever it was. And I just want to be real with you guys that those times, they do exist. In the very beginning, they're there all the time. You never know. And mentally, it's the toughest thing you'll ever go through. Trying to figure out, okay, am I going to have money at the end of the month, to pay my rent or my mortgage or my car payment or, my insurance or whatever it is, buy food. Is that even going to happen? So I just want you guys to understand, a lot of people have been lying to you if they say it's the easiest decision you'll ever make to become an entrepreneur. It is the easiest decision you will ever make. Once you make that decision, it's a very easy decision. But as far as living up to that and actually putting the work in and seeing the results, that's the hard part. You never know when a check's coming in. There could be weeks or months where you have no money coming in, or maybe you're negative, and that happens. To be a successful entrepreneur, sometimes you'll have months or even quarters where you're negative because you're putting so much money into other things. Okay, so just know that is out there, that does happen. Now if it happens over and over again, of course a year or 2 years, you're probably not doing things right. So let's jump into those 5 tips to be a successful entrepreneur. So my first tip, which I feel is very important, you need to have cash. Cash is king, and it doesn't matter what business you're in, it doesn't matter who you are. If you have cash, that's what makes the decisions. Because if you have cash, you can pay off bills, you can pay employees, you can pay whatever you want to do. You can go on vacation, you can do all this stuff, you can build your business, you can scale it. If you don't have cash, you can't do any of that stuff. So your business stays right where it's at. So to be a successful entrepreneur, you need cash. Cash is king. Remember that. Cash is king. It's always been king. Cash is king. Money talks. It's never going to be any different. If you want to be successful, I guarantee it, if you have more cash than you have debts, you will be successful. The bigger the spread on that, the more successful you're going to be. So tip number 2 to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to understand that the greater the risk does not mean the greater the reward. Yes, it's a great saying and everyone says it, and it's it almost means something. But in a sense, you could take an extremely big risk, a gamble almost, and the reward could be very little. And people do this all the time because they think, oh, it's a big risk, that means it's a big reward. No, a big risk does not necessarily mean a big reward. A big risk is just a big risk. You should take a calculated risk, an educated risk. You need to know what you're getting yourself into. So before you become an entrepreneur, what are the ups and downs? What are the pros and cons? Okay, what are the risks? What are the rewards? If the business that you're getting into does not have a big upside, but it has a huge risk, that might not be the best business to get into, especially just to start. So just remember, the bigger the risk does not mean the bigger reward. Tip number 3 to being a successful entrepreneur, you need to follow in the footsteps of somebody that's been there. Okay, a mentor. I say this all the time, you should get yourself a mentor. I'm not saying it needs to be me. It does not need to be me. It could be somebody in your family, it could be a friend, it could be somebody you've never met before, somebody that calls you on the phone. Whatever it is, find somebody that has taken that journey, has gone from where you were or where you currently are to where you want to be. Because I guarantee you, if you have somebody that's taken those steps, and gone through all the struggles and the hurdles and everything that you're going to go through, if they can guide you, I guarantee you can be more successful. As an entrepreneur, it's very hard because a lot of times we see certain people, they did this, they did that, and they became very successful. And it's not always the case. It doesn't, some things you cannot do over and over again the exact same way and get the same results. It doesn't happen. Sometimes it does, but in most cases, you need to change it up. You need to have a little bit of variety. And how are you going to know what variety is? How are you going to know what worked then and what might work now? If you were not there then, you didn't know what went on then. You only know what's happening now in the present. And what's happening now is you are stuck because you don't know how to get to that next level. A mentor will help you get to that next level. So tip number 4 is to always be learning. So many people ask me, how did you do this? How did you do that? Well, the way I did it was I learned. I watched YouTube videos, I read blog posts, I just read articles, I listened to podcasts, whatever it was. I was reading books, ebooks, physical books, whatever it was. I was always learning because you can never learn enough. You can never know everything there is to know in the world. If you want to be successful, especially as an entrepreneur, you cannot stop learning. Whether you learn about business, finance, maybe taxes, business structure, employees, human resources, marketing. There's so many things. You will never know everything there is about business because business is always changing, which means you have to be ahead of the game. You need to learn when other people are out there trying to figure out what's going on and why their business is not being successful. And my last tip to becoming a successful entrepreneur is to take action. So many people wait, and I understand it's like, I don't want to do that because I don't know everything there is to know about that business or about that. And it's because of the people that are worried about whatever that is, they never take that first step. I'm not saying take that, that leap, okay? That's completely different. I'm just saying so many people are worried about whatever that is. It's their fear, okay? And this also goes back to the very first one, taking that leap of faith. You have to jump in. You gotta get started at some point. But most people are afraid of whatever that is. Okay? It's their fear. They cannot get over their fear. It's their fear of, of the unknown, but it's also their fear of failure. And some people, it's the fear of success. Some people, they have everything they need. They got the money, they have the knowledge, they have the skills, they have a mentor, they have everything they need. But they still don't take action because they are afraid that their life now will not be the same if they become successful. And it's a weird thing, I understand, but there's a lot of people out there that don't want their life to change. And it's not just a money thing. Maybe they become successful, but the amount of time they spend with their family and friends, it diminishes. Their relationships are just gone. They are successful, but at the same time, they don't want that thing to change because they know how good they have it now. They don't want anything to happen to what they have right now, what they have in front of them. So as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving parts in your business, whatever your business is. Okay? I got multiple businesses, pretty much all online businesses, and every single one of them has a lot of moving parts. It is very hard, it's very stressful. There are times where sometimes it's like you want to keep going, you want to keep building, but when is enough? When is enough money, gonna satisfy you? When is enough time? When is, whatever it is, you need to understand your why. If you don't understand your why, you're not gonna be able to really run your business the right way. So I just want to leave you guys with that because I know a lot of people ask, how to become an entrepreneur, what are the steps to take? There are a lot of steps. There are a lot of different paths. There are so many paths to take to that one step of being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is just a word, okay? It's really the lifestyle that you live. It's not always the money. The money's great, and it's it helps buy stuff, and it does make some people happy, but other people, when you have more money, you want to do more things. The more things you do, the more stressful your life becomes. Simplify things. That's one thing that I made a promise to myself for 2017, I'm going to simplify my business and my life as much as possible to make it very easy on myself. Because in 2016, I wasn't like stressed out, but I knew there's so many things I could be doing, but I wasn't doing them because I had other things, I had other goals, I had other, aspirations for that year. So just know, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. A lot of people love it, but if you don't do it correctly, I guarantee you, you will fail at some point. And the more failures you have and that you go through, it's going to make it a lot easier to just quit. But it's the people that push on, that are motivated by the failures that they just occurred, that just happened. Those people that push through those failures, those are the ones that are the most successful entrepreneurs you will ever see. Okay? So if you guys have any questions on entrepreneurship, starting a business, whatever it is, put those in the comment section below. Just know, I'm here to help you guys as much as possible. I've been doing this for a while. I do understand the pitfalls and the the benefits of becoming an entrepreneur. And that's why I tell you, it's not for everybody. It honestly isn't. Some people like it, some people hate it. And it all depends on who you are. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you click the button, subscribe today, and I'll see you guys on the next video.